In a clean win over the Wizards with Steph Curry playing on a minutes restriction, Trayce Jackson-Davis looked phenomenal as an athletic rolling center, a mobile defensive big, and a high IQ decision maker. Let's review. So the Warriors have always wanted an athletic big that can run the floor and add a vertical dimension, hence drafting James Wiseman in 2020. But in last night's game, TJD's willingness to run the floor in transition led to really easy buckets. So Carrington is stumbling here, and with the benefit of spacing with Steph and Buddy on the floor, we have a relatively advantageous situation where TJD really only needs to beat any help that comes from the low man. Though Keyshawn George is essentially face guarding Steph here, Star is more worried about containing whatever happens with Draymond, and Jordan Poole is attached to Buddy. So it's really only Coulibaly that can prevent TJD from making something of this opportunity. I think he's willing to live with slow-mo in this corner. But because TJD is coming at full speed, because Carrington is way behind on the action, Coulibaly doesn't really have the opportunity to beat TJD to his spot, which ends up in a dunk. I think if you replace TJD with a pass big or even Looney, this possession might end differently. As we've covered before, TJD is particularly skilled at making great reads and ball screens. With this Draymond, TJD, Wiggins, GP2, and Steph lineup, the spacing isn't as great, but the Warriors are still going to create an advantage by bringing GP2 to this weak side. So notice now this cluster that's going to form of Steph, Wiggins, and GP2, all on the weak side, drawing their defenders away from what's going to be this empty corner ball screen action. Why is it called an empty corner? Well, it's because there's no shooter spaced in this corner. And as they run this pick and roll on this right wing, there's just an ocean of space to work with. So even for non-dangerous shooters like Draymond and a non-shooter like TJD, there's still an offensive advantage. I think something that is helped here is that Sar ends up taking this switch on to Draymond, and TJD gives this little nudge here to Coulibaly to get him on the backside, which makes it really hard for him to recover in time, especially to this ocean of space. Again, notice this cluster on the weak side, Coulibaly on the backside. And now Draymond actually has some options. Obviously, he's going to throw this lob to TJD, this really high arcing lob. But GP2 is actually setting this screen here. So Steph is also wide open in this corner. But because TJD is so athletic, he's able to soar and easily put down that in the basket. We've talked before about how TJD is great at taking advantage of when his shooters draw two off of ball screens. This simple set is no different. The Warriors are going to set two screens here for Steph's man, starting off with a GP2 pin down, which flows into another high screen from TJD. Now, of course, Steph is pretty much always going to draw both defenders in this situation. Notice how Sar has absolutely no concern at all for his man TJD, and how Carrington is chasing Steph for his life here. TJD immediately recognizes this. He's going to immediately roll and is rewarded with this excellent pass from Steph. Now, these types of plays are super easy offense, especially against a less versatile defensive team like the Wizards. But the Warriors have also been playing some fun lineups with several of our quote-unquote bigs, with slow-mo at point, Draymond at the 4, and TJD at the 5. But mainly I'm including this place to show you how TJD is also a really capable passer. So because Buddy is such a shooting threat, he's able to sell this fake to the outside fairly easily and immediately beat Corey Kispert. TJD not only sees this, but makes this really crisp leading pass to Buddy, who's wide open for the dunk. And I think what happens is that these Buddy-Lindy lineups, or these two shooter lineups, are really fun, since both of their defenders, Kispert and GP, are really unwilling to help off of them and kind of want to run them off that three-point line, which helps them sell fakes like this. Finally, rim protection. The Warriors have needed this for quite a while, as Draymond, despite all of his generational defensive talents, just doesn't have the height to rim protect at the highest level. So Wiggins and TJD are defenders of this Coulibaly-Sarr pick and roll. Sarr gets a really good screen, which prevents Wiggins from chasing over easy enough, which forces a switch at the last second. So TJD has to switch off of a downhill rolling Coulibaly right here. Now, normally this would be a pretty easy bucket for most normal Warriors rim protection, but Coulibaly isn't expecting TJD's athleticism to work out here. He has a 7'1" wingspan, which allows him to reach over and swat the layup with ease, almost in Anthony Davis-like fashion. And that's all we got today. The Warriors have looked really crisp in their first 7 games, but their opponents have also been easier. So how do you think they'll do in their upcoming really tough 5-game stretch? Comment below and let us know. Like and subscribe for more film reviews just like this. Thanks for watching.